In chapter 25 of the book of Genesis, we find a pivotal point in the story of Abraham, Isaac, and their descendants. Abraham, the great patriarch, is nearing the end of his earthly journey. After the death of Sarah, Abraham takes another wife named Keturah, with whom he has several children. However, it is Isaac, the son of promise, who receives the largest share of the inheritance. Abraham then gives everything he owns to Isaac, while giving gifts to his other sons and sending them away, in order to ensure that Isaac remains the primary heir. Abraham lives to the age of 175, and when he dies, he is buried by his sons Isaac and Ishmael in the tomb of Machpelah. Ishmael, another important character in this chapter, also leaves a legacy of 12 princes, fulfilling God's promise to make him a great nation. The chapter continues with the birth of Esau and Jacob, sons of Isaac and Rebekah, and we are already introduced to the conflict that will shape future generations. Esau, a rugged hunter, and the more laid-back Jacob, engage in a rivalry when they trade birthright for a bowl of lentils, an act that marks the beginning of a long history of family intrigue and challenges that shaped the nations of Israel and Edom. Stay with us until the end for an inspiring message that could change your life. Biblical insight. Genesis 25 reveals several family and spiritual dynamics that echo throughout the Bible. Abraham, the father of faith, not only leaves a physical legacy for his descendants, but a spiritual one as well. The chapter highlights the importance of the divine lineage through Isaac, God's promised son, reiterating the theme that God's promises prevail despite circumstances. The relationship between Isaac and Ishmael is also a reminder that even outside the main line, God continues to be faithful to his promises, as seen in the 12 princes who arise from Ishmael. The birth of Jacob and Esau sets up a dynamic that will be reflected in future tribes and nations. The exchange of birthright is a constant reminder of God's sovereignty and how he chooses those who will serve his purpose, regardless of social norms or human expectations. God has already declared that the elder will serve the younger, and this is later fulfilled with the elevation of Jacob, the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, over Esau, who becomes the progenitor of Edom. Archaeological context. The narrative of Genesis 25 is deeply rooted in the cultural and geographic context of the ancient Near East. The region where Abraham, Isaac, and their descendants lived was marked by constant tribal shifts, territorial disputes, and family alliances. Abraham's marriage to Keturah, for example, may reflect the patriarch's practice of forming alliances through marriage to secure their descendants and influence. The presence of Ishmael and his descendants as leaders of 12 tribes echoes the tribal structure that was common among nomadic peoples of that time. The account of the blessing of Isaac and the exchange of the birthright between Jacob and Esau can be understood in light of the legal and social practices of ancient Mesopotamia, where the right of inheritance was a central concept in the organization of families. Tombs, such as that of Machpelah, where Abraham is buried, have archaeological parallels with royal and family tombs found in the region, which were reserved for important figures. In addition, the landscape where these stories took place is marked by deserts, fertile plains and important trade routes, which played a fundamental role in the lives of the patriarchs. Bible studies with studies. The story of Genesis 25 has been widely studied by theologians and biblical scholars for its theological and narrative implications. The importance of the concept of primogeniture is a recurring theme in many studies, raising questions about the role of human will versus divine plan. The exchange of Esau's birthright for a bowl of lentils is often seen as symbolic of the human tendency to sacrifice the spiritual for the material, a lesson that applies both in the biblical context and in contemporary moral discussions. Commentators also focus on the differences between the brothers Jacob and Esau, representing two distinct paths that are reflected in the future nations of Israel and Edom. The promise to Ishmael also receives attention in scholarship, highlighting how God keeps his promises even outside the central covenantal lineage. The use of genealogies in this chapter underscores the importance of legacy and continuity, themes that continue to be central to understanding God's redemptive plan across generations. Every detail, from the blessings to the geopolitics of the tribes descended from Abraham, is seen as part of a larger picture of redemption and promise. Archaeological discoveries. Archaeological discoveries related to the patriarchal period shed light on the customs and practices described in Genesis 25. Excavations at sites such as Hebron, where Abraham's tomb is located, reveal the importance of ancestral tombs in ancient Middle Eastern culture. These tombs were often used by multiple generations and symbolized continuity and connection to divine blessings. Other finds, such as cuneiform records from Mesopotamia, show parallels to the inheritance laws and family dynamics depicted in the chapter, reinforcing the cultural accuracy of the biblical text. In addition, there are records of Arab tribes descended from Ishmael, whose trade routes may have influenced the economic and cultural development of the region. Recent discoveries of artifacts in areas associated with Edom have also helped to corroborate the biblical narrative, revealing structures and inscriptions that date back to the time when Esau and his descendants would have inhabited the region. These discoveries not only validate the biblical accounts, but also enrich our understanding of the daily lives and cultural practices of the patriarchs. Connecting the past to the present. The story of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Esau continues to resonate today, not only for biblical scholars but also for those living in the Middle East and beyond. Sibling rivalry and the struggle for inheritance are universal themes, still found in many cultures. God's promise to Abraham that his descendants would become great nations is reflected in the diversity of peoples and cultures that trace their roots back to him, including Jews, Christians, and Muslims. The exchange of birthright can be seen as a warning about the choices we make every day, choosing between immediacy and enduring values. The legacy of Ishmael and Esau also raises questions about reconciliation and division, issues that continue to shape the modern geopolitical landscape, especially in the Middle East. Just as the tribes of Ishmael and Esau created their own identities and nations, today we see the ongoing struggle for identity and territory in the same region. The story in Genesis 25 reminds us that the past is never completely disconnected from the present. Yesterday's decisions and promises shape the world we live in today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, each day is a new opportunity to call on the name of the Lord. Until next time.